Well, good morning, YouTube. This would be Prepper Embarado coming at you from an undisclosed wilderness area. Granted, I'm not far from a highway. You can hear it in the background. Today's topic, well, we're going to talk about weather and historical fact. Okay? So let's do just that, shall we? Historical fact. In the late 1300s, early 1400s, no, I don't have specific dates. You can look it up on the internet. We had similar weather conditions to what we've had in the last 4 or 5 decades. Global warming. You say, but Prepper Embarado, how could we have had global warming back then? We didn't have industry. We didn't have fossil fuels, coal, oil. And there was like 1/10 the population there is on the planet today. Good question. Why is it we had global warming? It was all an effect of the sun. Just as what we've had for the last 5 decades. Don't let the wizards of smart that play for the liberal team make you think it was man-made. It wasn't. That's a complete hoax. Man had nothing to do with it. 400 years ago, the global warming came to an end, and immediately the winters began to resemble what we've had for the last 4 years. Colder, snowier, longer winter. Funny how that worked out, because now we're repeating what happened back then. Like a famous man once said, if you fail to study your history, you are doomed to relive it. Here's the thing. In the early 1400s through the early 1800s, mid-1800s, we had something the scientists now are calling the Little Ice Age. People in London were still skating on the Thames in the 1800s through April, May, and June. This is a place where it doesn't freeze hard enough to make ice to skate outside. But they were skating in April, May, and June. You remember all the big hunks of ice that George had to deal with when fording Valley Forge, going across the river to Newark? And all the cold that winter? The Little Ice Age. Well, we're just getting over 5 decades of global warming. And everybody's saying, oh, it's so cold this winter. It's so snowy. It's snowier than it's been in years. Hello, wake up. We're going into what I believe is the next ice age. Winters from now on are going to get colder and snowier, live longer. I mean, hey, it's a fact. Check it out on the internet. All these wizards of smart, Al Gore, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton. Oh, we got to do green energy, wind, solar, geothermal. Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking these energy sources. I think they're great. But are they the end all be all? Not yet. Not prime time for any of them yet. Not as a nationwide energy source. Individual home bases, yeah, sure, they're all great things. They can help us get off the grid. But are they enough to support the entire nation for energy? No. They may be someday. And I'm hoping our wizards of smart, who are improving these technologies, keep going and make them better to the point where they will eventually support the entire nation. Because, let's be real, fossil fuel can't last forever. I agree. I'm not a liberal, but I agree with them on that point. My point is, folks, if you're a prepper and you haven't already stashed away and squirreled away 5 tons of food per person in your family group, and you don't plan to, if I'm right, all you're doing is preparing to fail. And those who are making like ostriches and keeping their heads buried in the sand, or those over here who are NIMBYs, not in my backyard, well, they're going to be the first ones having dirt shoveled in their face when the crap really starts to hit the fan. It already has started, but it's just beginning. And in the next few years, it's going to get worse and worse. Start to prepare like you're planning for living in the Arctic. You will have summers that are very shortened. Well, ain't that beautiful? A peregrine falcon just went overhead. They're hard to come by around here. Just saw one. Start preparing like you're going to be living up in Alberta, where you have extremely short summers and very long winters. Wild meat, wild game is going to become scarce. Wild food, acorns, etc., are going to be hard to come by if you aren't really skilled at finding them. Grocery stores are going to become non-existent. Okay? Anybody who's watched any of the, how do I want to call it, apocalypse TV series, Defiance, there was another one, I forget what the name of it was exactly, where they had no electricity because of technology that made electricity not work anymore. I'm sure if you're a fan, you know which show I'm talking about. Well, folks, they may not be real insofar as the shows themselves, but they definitely speak to what could happen. And if you're not planning to live your life as if those were factual, all you're doing is preparing to fail. And I gotta admit, I'm guilty. I haven't prepared this way yet. But I've been thinking this way for some time, and I'm trying to prepare this way. So, and this mention goes out to my friend up in Boston. PP, you know who I'm talking to, young lady. You were mentioning the other night about how much snow Boston has gotten this winter. Well, in case you can't tell, we've had quite a bit here in central New England. It's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. My recommendation, if you live in a big city or on the outskirts of a big city, Boston, Hartford, New York, Albany, so on, get yourself a place out in the countryside somewhere. An undisclosed piece of land. You don't tell people you bought it. And you prep a place there to get away from the masses. Because like I said in one of my past videos, I thought long and hard about whether I should show my face on camera. As you can tell, I'm very recognizable if you see me in public. I've had a great many people come up to me in the area where I live and say, "Hey, Prepper Emberado, how you doing?" They recognize my face from the video. So that's why I had to think long and hard about whether I wanted to appear. There are people, even just by your voice, are going to know that you are Prepper whoever from YouTube. Or maybe they recognize your hands because they were in the video. Or in my case, they're going to recognize this ugly mug. Not my fault, I got to tie a pork chop around my neck to get the dogs to play with me. But they're going to recognize that I've talked about preps. And when the shit really hits the fan, and people who didn't prep decide they need something to eat, and the grocery stores are all shut down and nothing on the shelves, they're going to start looking for somebody like me. They're going to remember having seen me on YouTube and say, hey, this guy's got preps laid back so he can eat. We've got nothing. Martha, get my gun. We're going shopping. These are the ostriches and the NIMBYs. And in case you don't know, NIMBY means not in my backyard. I think I already mentioned that once, but we'll say it twice. It's always worth a second mention on that one. They're going to come looking for people like you, like me, that have put back stores so that we can survive, and they're going to try and steal what we've got at gunpoint. And if we're terribly unlucky, they're going to take our lives to do it. I'm not kidding. I've heard people talking. Let me simply state, I'm a school bus driver. I drive in a major metropolitan area. I'm not going to tell you what town or what state, just central New England, close enough. I've heard people talking about this stuff. A lot of them in foreign languages thinking that I don't understand them. They think, no habla. Sad to say, I do speak some Spanish. I wouldn't say I'm fluent, but I know enough to know when people are talking about me and talking about stuff I've done and said. So let me simply say, if you're not willing to defend your preps with extreme prejudice, you better have them well hidden and be able to get to that well hidden spot in short order when the crap really does hit the fan. Whether you're a conscientious objector or a medic or whatever reason you don't want to take anybody's life to protect your own, you're inviting disaster on yourself. I can't put it any plainer, folks. You have to be ready to either shit and get the hell out of Dodge, or you have to be willing to pull the trigger to defend what you have and what you have paid for out of your own blood, sweat, and tears. It's that simple. So, for the moment, I will echo something said by Scooch. Long live the Republic. God save the country. May peace be with you. Peace out. Until next time, this is Prepper Emberado.